Hello lovelies and welcome back to the Lovely Digest. If you're joining on YouTube, hello, you can see me. I'm sitting here in my office. If you're on the podcast, I know you can't see me, but if you are more of a visual person and would enjoy watching on YouTube, feel free to head over there. For those of you on YouTube, as with my last video that I recorded for the podcast, I'm just reading off of my notes here, so I won't be looking at you the whole time, but that's what I'm doing, looking over here. So today I want to talk about how to have a positive colonoscopy experience. I had my first colonoscopy at the age of 17. The doctor thought I had GI issues, but I just had a hernia that wasn't seen on any ultrasound like they usually are. So a little backstory, it's common that those developing Crohn's disease start to have symptoms and show degeneration if you have a colonoscopy about 5 years before severe illness presents. However, my colonoscopy was clean. And this is like a little side story, it's not super relevant, but in case you have any ideas, like I just wanted to talk about it. Less than 5 years later was when I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, so I just find it super interesting that I had a clean colonoscopy and had no signs of GI distress when I ended up going on to develop Crohn's less than 5 years later. So just a random thought, but today I want to talk about having a positive colonoscopy experience because 4 out of 5 of my colonoscopies have been the most pleasant experiences, like oddly just super smooth and easy. Only one of them I was very sick and was unable to communicate my needs and was very scared because I was in so much pain, and that was the only one that wasn't positive. So I have a few tips after all of those experiences, after 5 colonoscopies, that I highly recommend that you do in order to have a positive experience. There's truly nothing to worry about, and I like to view it as a nice, like, forced nap with drugs, which I'm sure there's a better way to say that, but hopefully you understand what I mean, and that's what takes me into my first tip for you guys, which is make it positive. I don't believe in thinking positive like all the time, or that it will make things better. Having negative thoughts is totally fine. Being scared is totally normal and fine. However, practicing gratitude and starting the practice of reframing negative thoughts can improve your mental attitude towards the thing that you're worrying about and improve your quality of life. Because the fact is, you have to have a colonoscopy. Everyone does at some point in their life. So instead of fear-mongering over something that has to happen and that hasn't happened yet, and creating a negative experience by living in your negative thoughts, think about the positives. Like, just think about the negative thought that keeps spinning around in your mind and create a positive anecdote for it. So here are a few, for example. So instead of thinking like, oh my gosh, I just hate this, why do I have to do this? Think, I have to get this done because I care about my health and well-being and want to learn how I can best care for my body. I know that my doctor has my best interests in mind, and I will do my best to communicate my fears or any fears that I have so we can sort them out ahead of time and create a positive experience. And then lastly, so many people, even little kids, have this done every single day. So if they can do it and go on with life, I can too, because we are all so strong and we can all get through it together. Tip number 2 is to practice mindfulness and presence, which I talk about a lot on here, but it just goes to show like the power of mindfulness and meditation. I bring a book to my colonoscopies to read while I'm waiting because no one's allowed back with me. So I sit and I read my book, and how I know I'm nervous is if I have to read a paragraph several times. So if I notice that I'm reading something over and over to try to like remember what I just read, I put the book down, take a break, and do a breathing exercise. Like I breathe into my stomach. Doing this will relax your body, and I just find that the more I'm relaxed no one is, I mean, personally, I have never been totally relaxed going into a colonoscopy or even to a regular routine doctor's appointment. I don't have white coat syndrome, but I don't love being there. My blood pressure is always really high. However, the more that I go through the practice of breathing exercises or meditation while I'm there, the more relaxed I am, and I fall asleep faster in the colonoscopy, and I woke up with significantly less pain this past time because I was doing breathing exercises right up until they put the stuff under my nose and I fell asleep. So that was the one time that I woke up with absolutely, like, I had a few cramps, but it was just the difference between before and after. Like the last couple of colonoscopies, I woke up with a lot of gas pains because they blow air into your stomach. And this also has to do with how cleaned out you are. So it's not all breathing and breathing and meditation exercises. However, the gas pains were just significantly less because I had relaxed my system beforehand. Tip number 3 is to set up a warm and cozy home environment to do the prep and come home to afterwards. Before my last few colonoscopies, when I was a bit healthier, and the first one that didn't go so well, when I got Crohn's, I was not able to clean my environment because I was so sick. But if you're healthy and able to have a little bit of energy to clean your home, I highly recommend it, because when I cleaned the apartment beforehand and went grocery shopping for easy to digest foods, but yummy foods, it just made my experience, like, I had something to look forward to after. I also just imagined that it was going to be like a little vacation. I took an extra day off, so I took the day of my colonoscopy off, and then I also took the next day off from work, so I got a little bit of extra work done beforehand. And then I also went to the library and picked out some books and some movies that I had been wanting to watch, and I had just curated this little clean and tidy and cozy environment for when I came home. So I lit some candles when I came back, and even though I wasn't really feeling well, I had movies and things that I could watch that I really enjoyed, and it just made me excited to get through the colonoscopy. I had something on the other side, like a little reward. I don't know if like your parents did the same thing for you when you were little, but my mom would always tell my sister and I that after our doctor's appointments, we could go across the street to the grocery store and pick out a treat that we would never usually be able to have. And I would always get like snowballs or ho-hos or whatever it was that I was obsessed with at the time. And that just like made getting the shots easier. So now I just kind of like do the adult version, which is cleaning my apartment and just having a nice cozy environment at home afterwards. And not having to dive right back into work. There's no pressure. You can just enjoy your time off. But your assignment this week is to create an action plan for your next colonoscopy, or think of something you can do for a friend that has one coming up. If you know someone needing a colonoscopy, schedule to send them flowers, a card, or a gift card to their favorite grocery store or restaurant so that they can pick up their favorite foods. Or if you know what they can eat or want to ask them, what would you really want after your colonoscopy? I'll make it for you, and like make them a freezer meal. That would just be a really nice way to support someone who has to get a colonoscopy. And then maybe they can do that for you when you go to yours in the future. I hope you're all 50 when you have to get one, but in case you're not and you're here and you have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or IBS, maybe you can find someone in a support group that can do that for you that lives close by. I hope this episode has been helpful. Please leave a comment if you're here on YouTube below, or listening to the podcast if you enjoyed it, or if you want to know more or have questions. I would love to answer them in a future episode and video. And otherwise, I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here.